Captain America: The Road Home. Many fans have wanted to see the story of Thundercap return the stones at the end of Avengers Endgame. It'd be very cool if there was actually a movie on this, but just in case, here's how I would do it. Welcome to Bench Talks, guys. So anyway, it starts out with news of Iron Man's death and the usage of the Infinity Stones appearing on news screens all over the world. It is seen by a man wearing a robe in a restaurant in St. Louis. He stands with excitement as he sees the Infinity Stones and sneaks out of the city. Meanwhile, Professor Hulk sends Cap into the quantum realm. Cap first travels to Asgard, as he has two things to return there, Mjolnir and the Reality Stone. He sneaks through the chambers of Asgard and finds the roof collapsing above. He holds up his shield to shield himself and looks up to find the Dark Elves attacking. Because that was the day when that was going to happen, so yeah. So Cap fights his way to Jane Foster, alongside past Thor, and they both kind of use the same Mjolnir and fight in a way that destroys. Like, they destroy those Dark Elves, because they work so well together with the Mjolnir that they have. And this is why Thor says that he knew it when he saw Captain America lift Mjolnir in Endgame, because he knew that Thundercap had it in the past and that he fought with him and stuff. Well, anyway, it could kind of play into that, but I'm good either way. Anyway, Cap makes it to Jane and returns the stone and Mjolnir, then travels back to the quantum realm. Now he's on Morag, and he enters the Temple of the Power Stone, as War Machine calls it, and steps over an unconscious Peter Quill. Above him, a man is watching him. The man aims a sniper rifle at Cap and waits for the right moment. As Cap enters the room with the Power Stone, he is shot at multiple times by the man. Cap throws his shield at the man, knocking him into the ground. It is the man from the restaurant. And he's all cyborged up and rapid fires blasts and bullets into Cap, who engages into a 1v1 with the man. And it is an insanely epic fight, and they are like really good, like both of them are really good with hand-to-hand combat, and they're like almost equal in skill. The man is the villain Deathlock, and he is after the stones. He has his own time travel mechanism, and eventually Cap knocks him into a ravine and returns the stone in a way that Deathlock can't get the stone, and shrinks away. Deathlock does the same, and Deathlock also has a plan of his own. Cap wanders the floors of the Avengers Tower and finds his past self wake up after being warped by the scepter. He looks at the modern Cap, who puts on his quantum suit and shrinks down to avoid more fighting with his past self. His suit malfunctions and he goes back to the regular size, and past Cap charges at modern Cap and drops dead suddenly, from Deathlock shooting at him with a harpoon. Cap and Deathlock fight again, and Deathlock takes the stones and nearly defeats Cap, until Cap summons Mjolnir from 2012 Thor and blasts Deathlock away and just destroys him. Severely injured though, Cap walks until dark. No, he waits until dark, and goes to 2012 Tony Stark and tells him what's going on. Tony offers to help Cap return the stones. Cap gives Tony a spare quantum suit, and they travel back to the unconscious Cap and return the Mind Stone. Deathlock wallows in failure as he decides he's been doing it all wrong, then travels away. And he goes to that dwarf place called Nidavellir in Infinity War, and forces Eitri the dwarf to make an Infinity Gauntlet. He then kills Eitri the dwarf, and time travels away. It's pretty epic. There's a pretty cool fight scene with Deathlock and the dwarves and all that, and it's actually really cool to watch. Or it will be if they make it. Anyway, Tony and Cap arrive at Vormir and they go up the mountain. Cap hears Red Skull's haunting voice, and as memories flash into his mind and all that, he throws his shield as Tony fires a unibeam blast into him. They both go through Red Skull, and Red Skull does not know who Cap is anymore, and asks why they want to fight. Cap goes to fight Red Skull again some more, but Tony stops him, being the bigger man in a way. Tony then takes out the Soul Stone and returns it to Red Skull. They then shrink away. It's quite crazy. There's some good moments with Cap and Tony Stark in this whole film. Anyway, with the hope that Deathlock isn't in New York anymore, they go to the Sanctum Sanctorum the minute Bruce Banner leaves and return the Time Stone. After this, a stray blast flies into them, activating their suits and sending them into the quantum realm, into a stray time period. The blast comes from Deathlock. Tony and Cap land on the London Bridge from Spider-Man Far From Home, and are then warped away as the elemental dude person that Mysterio makes slams them, and they're warped away by a strange glow. They appear in Siberia where Tony and Cap are fighting. Tony sees and gets mad at Cap and tries to fight Cap again, but then they're warped 500 years into the future again, into what looks like a junkyard. Tony goes to fight Cap again because he's mad at him, but then Deathlock appears. He holds up his gauntlet, which has all but the Space Stone. Deathlock is after the Space Stone because the Space Stone kind of has this deal where it can only exist in one place in space at a time. So that's the only place that they can get it because it's with Captain America and Tony right now. So anyway, he explains that he's going to recreate the Big Bang with the stone so we can restart his universe. The time period that they are in is Deathlock's time period, which has been destroyed and corrupted by Kree. He's going to restart it all by creating his Big Bang, so this won't happen again. Cap and Tony then fight Deathlock. He beats them senseless with his stones. Eventually, overexposure to the stones, however, makes the gauntlet burn off his hand, kind of like it did with Professor Hulk almost in Endgame. And so he rearranges the hand part of it and puts it on his other hand, which is a metal hand, so it won't burn through. And then, let's see. As Tony and Steve fight, Deathlock gets the Space Stone and completes the gauntlet. And then suddenly, Thor and Professor Jojo Fixit Hulk, not Jojo Fixit, sorry, Joe Fixit Hulk arrive from this time period and help them. Because they're trying to keep things in check in this time period so it doesn't get any worse. And so they've kind of like made a dynamic duo sort of thing. And so they see this and they come and start helping Cap and Tony. And anyway, as they nearly kill Deathlock, Deathlock explains that he showed them the London Bridge in Siberia to show how corrupt the universe already is, and that he came to their time to get the stones. He summons the gauntlet and prepares the snap. Because he kind of has this thing with his gauntlet where he just holds out his hand, kind of like Thor does with Mjolnir, and it flies into it. And anyway, Cap interferes and catches the gauntlet and puts it on. Deathlock gasps, and then Cap snaps and fixes the time period. Deathlock is defeated, and Thor and Joe Fixit retire. So anyway, then, with the stones all back, Cap and Tony go and return the stones a second time, this time successfully without any Deathlock. And then they go back to the military base in the 70s to return the Space Stone. Cap gives Tony the quantum suits and tells him to go and to keep them safe. They make amends, and Tony travels to his own time with both suits. Cap is like insanely weak after his snap and is internally injured. He limps around and he can barely even stand up and stuff. It is pretty bad. He returns the Space Stone and decides to live with Peggy. And yeah, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty interesting. I had a lot of fun, what's it called, coming up with this all. And yeah, I'll admit I did write it down on like a piece of paper and I read it off of it so I would know what to cover and stuff. So that's why it may sound monotone at some parts, but that's why. Anyway, this was Bench Talks. Thanks for watching, guys. I mean, listening, actually. This is like a podcast. So never mind. This was Bench Talks. Noob444, out.